Indiana Fever many fans is still poking fingers at head coach Stephanie White for actually making the game not entertaining anymore, bro. This motion offense has to be addressed, and Stephanie White has to be held accountable because it's truly the offense that she's running, and it is not for Caitlin Clark at this point. Now, both Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White.
Forget what the media's been selling you, because we're diving deep into the raw, unfiltered truth of what's really been going down. Caitlin Clark just dropped a brutal bombshell about her health, and trust me, she held absolutely nothing back when it came to Stephanie White either. Was it pure shade? Was it the honest-to-God truth? Or was it a perfect combo, wrapped up in a jump shot and served ice cold? You're about to find out, because this isn't your average, boring press conference. Nope. This is Caitlin Clark, uncensored, and let's just say, jaws are on the damn floor. Grab your popcorn.
I thought at times we could have played a little bit faster, and I think that's on me, like not conceding in that. We still got to play up tempo. We still got to play fast. But I mean, I thought for the most part we did a lot of stuff that coach wanted us to do, and you know, that wasn't why we lost.
I can't hold you, man. That kind of looked like she let that slip out, man. I don't know. But I mean, we all see it. When they play slow, it's just not a good team, man. They're not as good as we see that they could be, right? So they need to play fast, man. I think, you know, they don't necessarily look that good when they're playing half-court ball. Maybe taking something from the Valkyries, man. The Valkyries run, all right? They be running.
Look, Caitlin Clark isn't just physically tired, she's spiritually parched. This woman is operating on fumes, an IV drip of caffeine, and sheer willpower alone, all while the WNBA seems determined to throw every possible roadblock her way, like it's some twisted version of American Ninja Warrior, but with worse referees and coaching that makes you question everything. Forget the hardwood. This woman is navigating a minefield.
The league needs to take care of Caitlin, not for special treatment purposes, but that's who everybody's there to see. Everybody wants to see Caitlin Clark play. And if you let other teams and other people beat the shit out of her, she's going to spend 2 weeks out injured. And your attendance is going to drop because people aren't going to get the chance to see her. And if you actually want to be paid the same as the NBA players, obviously not by actual dollar for dollar, but for revenue percentage, you need to protect her. You need her to be playing at her best and not be having the
She was supposed to be the WNBA's golden girl, the poster child for hope, growth, and record-smashing ticket sales. Instead, she's been turned into the league's favorite human tackling dummy, courtesy of referees who must have mistaken her for a crash test dummy. It's not just missed calls anymore, it's a full-blown sadistic science experiment to see how many illegal screens and blatant shoulder bumps one player can take before completely melting into emotional jelly.
Las Vegas Aces defeated the Indiana Fever 89-81. And this game was disappointing for many fans, not only for the fact that it seemed like the Fever had this one in the bag, but they kind of gave it away at the end of the game, but also because it seemed like there was something off with this Fever team. They didn't have the same energy and spark that we all know and love. So many fans are asking, what is going?
And let me tell you, it's not a pretty sight. The whistles have developed selective hearing, only screaming to life when Caitlin so much as thinks about doing something. The rulebook? Oh, that's just a choose-your-own-adventure novel authored by the god of chaos himself. Someone can literally sneeze on her, and it's play on. But if Caitlin breathes too close to an opponent, boom, that's a flagrant 2 and a 5-game suspension. It's beyond ridiculous.
I think I have figured out the solution to the Indiana Fever's problems. Hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. This is what we got to do. We got to put Caitlin Clark off ball. We need to run a motion offense. So when the defense takes away what Caitlin Clark does best, we have other players that can still perform. So when she does have bad games, we're not completely dead in the water. I think that is the best way to move forward with this Indiana Fever team.
The physicality Caitlin faces isn't just tough play, it's straight up criminal. Seriously, there are muggings with less contact. At this point, I'm legitimately wondering if some of these defenders have brass knuckles taped under their wristbands. And the league's official response? Absolute radio silence. Or even worse, flimsy passive-aggressive Instagram posts pretending everything's perfectly fine while their brightest damn star gets body slammed into irrelevance. And don't even get me started on Indiana. Emotionally draining doesn't begin to scratch the surface. The entire place feels off, like a haunted group therapy session sponsored by Broken Dreams and stale Gatorade. Caitlin walked into a franchise built entirely out of IKEA furniture, fragile, unstable, and utterly baffling to assemble. You'd think for a generational talent they'd roll out the red carpet. Instead, they handed her a paper towel and pointed her towards a leaky faucet. She's out there trying to play 4D chess, while her teammates are stuck on a frantic game of hungry hippos. The offense? Non-existent. The defense? A total myth. And Stephanie White, she's on the sidelines, sketching plays in invisible ink like it's a game of Pictionary. There's no system, no direction, just bad vibes. And I mean really bad vibes.
First talk about Caitlin Clark. So she struggled once again in this game. She was 7 for 20 from the field and 1 for 10 from 3, which puts her at 1 for 17 over the past few games. And if you're a fan of Caitlin Clark, you know that this is so unlike her. She is arguably the best shooter in the WNBA, and she is having a significant cold streak over the past 2 games. But her missing shots isn't actually what bothers me. The thing that bothered me most in the game yesterday was the one shot that she passed up. Now, she had been missing a few shots, and if you guys were on my live stream, I said the thing that she needs to do is to continue shooting. Shooters shoot. The only way to break a cold streak is to continue shooting.
Every single time Caitlin looks to the bench, it's like she's staring into the void. Stephanie White is just gesticulating, like she's ordering a quadruple espresso at a drive-thru, completely oblivious as the game descends into utter chaos. This isn't coaching, it's interpretive dance. 1 minute she's yelling, fast pace. The next she's screaming about patience. The players are trapped in a full-speed existential crisis, frantically trying to guess which phantom plan they're supposed to be following. And it's showing. Caitlin's game, once sharp and electric, now looks like it's buffering. Her passes are a beat late. Her confidence is clearly shaken. She's hesitating where she used to attack with reckless genius. And honestly, who could blame her? Imagine trying to play elite basketball while constantly dodging flying elbows and scanning your bench for any signs of sentient life. At this rate, Caitlin will need a sabbatical, an exorcist, or maybe both, because what's happening to her isn't just bad basketball, it's straight up psychological warfare. This league is supposed to protect and elevate its stars, not grind them down into dusty highlight reels and crushing regret. Yet, here she is, slowly being drained by the very league that begged for her brilliance, then completely forgot how to nurture it.
Wait, what'd you say? Wait, what? Did you just tell me that Stephanie White went on an interview tour this whole entire offseason saying exactly that? Did you just tell me Stephanie White went on an interview? So how come when Caitlin Clark has a bad game, this team looks like absolute dog shit? How come when Caitlin Clark isn't busy backpacking this team, it looks like absolute dog shit, coach? Just a question. Just a question. What we saw today, folks, I feel bad for everybody that had to sit through that. Everybody that wasted 2 hours and 25 minutes watching the Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas Aces. I feel bad that we had to sit through that. That was a tough watch.
And here's the real kicker. She hasn't even hit her sophomore stride yet. This was supposed to be the glow-up season, the big leap, the I know what I'm doing now phase. Instead, she's basically trying to survive the Hunger Games armed with a water pistol and a mismatched squad. While the fan base is screaming bloody murder for help, league officials are busy playing Sudoku with the rulebook. It's almost poetic in a tragic Shakespearean way. A generational talent trapped in a twisted remake of Groundhog Day, where every single game is just another remix of disappointment and bruised ribs. And through all this, Stephanie White continues to smirk through press conferences, like she's just unlocked some master plan that only exists in a parallel dimension. Caitlin, get out, before she starts second guessing the very instincts that made her unstoppable, before she trades that undeniable fire for soul-crushing fatigue, before she wakes up and realizes she's not leading a revolution, she's just trapped in a dumpster fire with a hoop nailed to the side.
Well, I think you have to look at things a little bit holistically. I think Caitlin Clark is a really hard player to officiate, much like Diana Taurasi was throughout the course of her career, for a couple of reasons. Caitlin Clark regularly gets picked up in the full court. She also gets blitzed more over the course of her career than any player in WNBA history or in that period of time. And she also creates some contact herself on the offensive end of the floor. She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her.
She needs an escape plan, a parachute, hell, maybe even a time machine, because the longer she stays in this emotional blender, the harder it's going to be for her to ever recover. And no, this isn't just about racking up losses. This is about her losing her very identity as a player, while the entire league just sits back and watches it happen. It's absolutely baffling. They rolled out every camera, every sponsorship deal the second she went pro, and now they're letting her disappear behind endless post entries and aimless dribble handoffs. She's not just any player, she's the player. She's the reason millions are tuning in. Yet they're managing her like she's a spare part in a 20-year-old rebuild with a broken GPS. Meanwhile, Stephanie White is over there treating lineups like a Pinterest board, endlessly experimenting with rotations that make zero sense. Oh sure, let's take Caitlin off ball for 80% of the game. That'll definitely fix everything. If no one else is going to save her, she needs to save herself, because this isn't just messing with her stats, it's messing with her soul. And frankly, she deserves so much better. The fans deserve better. The game itself deserves better.
Well, I be damned. I be damned. 7 for 20 from the field. 1 for 10 from the three-point line. And look at those turnovers. 8 turnovers. She leads the league in turnovers. But guess what? Her Clarkies are only going to be impressed, and they're going to brag about the 19 points and 10 assists. Me personally, I'm all about efficiency. I'm concerned about those last 3. Them turnovers, which she leads the league in turnovers. She is shooting horrible from the field. And as far as them three-pointers, in the last 2 games, she's only made 1 3-pointer, and that's the one against the Ace.
So, unless Indiana suddenly finds a spine, a coherent game plan, and a coach who can actually tell the difference between a motion offense and chaotic flailing, Caitlin Clark better start packing her bags. Because if she sticks around much longer, we won't be watching a superstar rise. We'll be witnessing a legend get buried alive under apathy, crooked whistles, and Stephanie White's magical mystery tour of tactical confusion. On the court, she's present, but she's not running the show, not even close. Caitlin Clark looks like she's trapped in some dystopian stage play where she's the lead but never allowed to speak. Her incredible movements are there. Her raw talent is undeniable, but that authority, that leadership, that gravitational pull that once made her the undisputed center of the basketball universe, it's being dimmed, smothered, not just sidelined, erased. Caitlin Clark isn't being developed. She's being deconstructed, torn apart piece by piece like a car scrapped for parts in a back alley garage, and everyone's acting like it's just business as usual, like it's merely part of the rookie experience, as if being gaslit into irrelevance is some kind of character building exercise. Spoiler alert, it's not. It's a slow, brutal, soul-sucking drain neatly wrapped in a glossy WNBA logo.
That the Indiana Fever were trying to be that team that runs you off the floor, that hustles. I felt like they were the deepest team. Like, looking at the roster, man, they actually have some players that could run the floor. And I'm just like, dang, bro, it's really crazy to see that they're not really trying to run the floor like I would expect them to. And also using Michaela Timpson. Like, that is some young pair of legs, man. You should be using Michaela Timpson to help you run the floor, play lockdown defense, hustle defense, you know, winning the 50-50 balls. You need young legs to do that, man.
And yes, she's still standing, still showing up, but at what cost? Every single game piles on new layers of bruises, physical, mental, and reputational. She's running on fumes and pure fury, and the toll is glaringly visible. The smiles are tighter, her body language is stiffer. That once bright fire is flickering under a mountain of pure nonsense. And the worst part, this isn't some accidental oversight. This is intentional erosion. Let's not pretend for a second this is is just about one team. This is systemic. This is the entire league letting the mob loose on her, then shrugging it off like it's just part of the culture. Opponents aren't just defending, they're attacking like it's deeply, viciously personal, and just when you thought it couldn't get any darker, enter Geno Auriemma, because apparently, we needed that little sideswipe to truly round out the madness. A man who could have offered wisdom or solidarity instead decided to go full demolition mode. No warning, no context, just a condescending wrecking ball of unwarranted shade aimed directly at a 22-year-old navigating the biggest circus in sports, as if she needed more reasons to question everything. That wasn't critique, that was character defamation with varsity credentials, the kind of dismissive garbage that stings 10 times worse coming from someone who absolutely should know better. That wasn't coach's insight, that was pure sabotage, loud, unnecessary, and profoundly unhelpful. It clarified nothing, just dumped another heaping spoonful of bitterness into an already toxic soup.
Sorry, but this is a regular season game. There's no player that's going to be that depressed about a loss. The emotion that she's having right now, that's emotion that you have when you lose a championship. But they didn't lose a championship. So it's only one other thing. It's the coach. I knew something was up, y'all. I played basketball all my life. I played point guard. There was something off about Miss Caitlin when I was watching that Aces game. And I couldn't put my finger on it. It just seemed like Miss Caitlin, she was definitely unmotivated. She looked defeated the whole game. She didn't look like she was having fun. And that is always because of the coach.
Oh, and can we talk about the outright hate from other players? Because holy hell, this is a masterclass in professional jealousy turned blood sport. They're not just competing with her, they're actively trying to humiliate her, pushing, elbowing, cheap-shotting her like it's open mic night for every petty grudge festering in the league. The fouls aren't sneaky anymore, they're practically part of the choreography. And somehow, this toxic energy is not only allowed but encouraged to thrive. No one is stepping in, no one is pulling the emergency brake. They're too busy raking in record ratings while their golden goose gets pecked to death. It's a house of horrors. Every single day, a toxic feedback loop that keeps rewarding the chaos while systematically dismantling everything Caitlin Clark stands for. Grace, precision, leadership, elevation. They don't want her to shine. They want her to barely survive. They want her to conform, to shrink, to second guess her every move. This isn't about competition, it's about control. It's not just infuriating, it's sickening, physically nauseating, like watching a masterpiece get spray painted with insults in slow motion while everyone just claps. And if you think that's dramatic, ask yourself why the league's biggest draw is also its most targeted punching bag. This isn't coincidence, this is intentional sabotage.
Reason any professional athlete or any ball player is not having fun on the field, because this is the game they love. They've been loving this since they was a kid. Because the only reason a player is not having a good time playing the game that they love is because the coach is trying to put shackles on them, trying to control them too much. With a player like Caitlin, you gotta let them loose. This is something that Steve Kerr had to realize when he was dealing with Steph. Steph was shooting all them logo threes. He was shooting all the shots early in the shot clock. Steve Kerr would shake his head. He'd be like, oh, what are you doing? But after a while, he had to let this player do his thing. Bro, that was the first time I ever seen Caitlin Clark walk the ball down the court. And
We're talking about the player who single-handedly brought millions of new eyeballs to this league, who sold out arenas, inspired an entire generation, and transformed casual viewers into rabid fans. And what did the WNBA do? Instead of protecting that gold mine, they handed her over to a gauntlet of pure bitterness and let it rip, because nothing says thanks for saving our franchise quite like ritual humiliation broadcast live in prime time. And yet, she plays on. Through clenched teeth and bruised pride, she still laces up, dragging herself through a league that feels less like a sport and more like a bad reality show, with even worse fouls. The physical attacks are brutal enough, but it's the constant emotional whiplash that inflicts the deepest wounds. Every single day, she's forced to perform in a theater of the absurd, where the rules change by the hour and the stage crew actively hates her. And through it all, she's still expected to be the brand ambassador, the flawless role model, the gleaming face of a league that won't even back her up when she's being tossed around like a rag doll. This isn't player development, it's public sacrifice. And you can see it in her eyes now, that deep, bone-weary exhaustion that no amount of rest can fix, that quiet exasperation of someone who's realizing that doing things the right way means absolutely nothing when the entire system is built to punish you just for existing.
You know what? I don't think Stephanie White is like a fan of Caitlyn's demon time and, you know, her getting all riled up and pumping up the crowd. I don't think she's a fan of that shit. Some coaches, like, they don't like that shit. For example, when Allen Iverson came into the league, him and Larry Brown did not get along because Larry Brown used to tell him to tone it down and not be himself and stuff like that. But I think that's what's going on with this team right now. Because when I was watching that game, man, it just did not feel right. Like, she just looked like she was just so sad about playing. It felt like she was being forced to play a certain type of way.
Caitlin Clark didn't sign up for this horror story. She signed up to play elite basketball and elevate the entire damn game. But what she got instead was a front row seat to a league-wide identity crisis. One that's perfectly happy to use her as both a scapegoat and a punching bag in equal measure. They preach that adversity builds character, but this is so far beyond character building. It's not even funny. Her struggles are good for TV. Her torment gets clicks. And that's the real horror story here. She deserves better. The sport deserves better. And if this league has even a shred of interest in its own survival, it needs to stop treating its brightest light like a fire hazard. Because once Caitlin Clark walks away, and if things stay like this, she absolutely should, it won't just be her leaving. It'll be every single fan who came for the magic and stuck around for the hope. And when that happens, no amount of damage control or PR fluff will save them. Because the truth will be crystal clear. They didn't just let their star fall, they pushed her. Every single day, every single play, every sneer, every non-call, every dismissive eye roll from the bench. They didn't protect her, they erased her, and they'll be left standing in the dark wondering why the lights went out after they snuffed out their own damn flame.